Namaste, gods, goddesses, and emissaries of light. This is Dr. Shreya Tajen, also known as Empress 1111. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please hit like, subscribe to this channel. Do not forget to hit the notification button so you can be updated on my latest videos. All right, I have been working with my guides, my angels, since birth. I talked about working with angels and guides in the Kundalini Risings and Protection Part 2 video. And so, after meditation today, I wanted to elaborate and go into further detail and just dig right into the depth of this spiritual work and journey that we are on as light workers, and why we are on a journey to our beloved, and our beloved is the divine. First and foremost, that is the greatest beloved of all. Then we're on this journey back into ourselves to bridge the masculine and the feminine, which is the divine masculine and the divine feminine, making them one in harmony and one unity. So you have the spiritual process, and then you have the physical union with your other half, which is your twin. And then you come into a union physically with the divine masculine and the divine feminine. All right, so in order for you to be able to work with an angel, your guide, or your higher self, there has to be an exchange of electromagnetic energy on the same level. And this is the reason why some people are not actively working with the angels. And so, since I spoke of the angels on my last video that I already aforementioned, my angels told me that it was my responsibility to go in deeper of how much of a miracle, some would call it, or a privilege it really is to work from this vantage point. What you are as a human being, anyway, you are a super condensed vibration, vibrating at a high molecular speed that is stuffed into this beautiful avatar we call a body. Okay? You are energy. The angels are energy. Okay. Now, for some angels, they have walked the earth and they have been humans before. Not to be confused with guides, because guides are basically evolved human beings. I'm going to give you a crash course on the spiritual realm, and I'm not going to go into too much depth because there's so much, and time would not allow me to do all of it in one session here. But I want to let you know that angels and guides are not the same thing. They are separate. They are in a league of their own, even though some of their work overlap one another and it looks the same, and sometimes it is the same. It doesn't make them the same, and they are completely different. And they're on different dimensions as well, even though sometimes they even work together for the greater good of all that's involved. Okay. So, going back to the angels, excuse me, 9 times out of 10, an angel have not had any earthly incarnations, but there are some exceptions where there have been angels that have materialized in a body. They may not have been physically birthed, or they may have been physically birthed. And I'm not going to expose which child I have, but one of the children that I have was, and still is, an earth angel. Okay? And I've always suspected this because this child is the most quiet out of all of my children. This child, I've never seen them get upset or angry. I've never seen my child gossip. I've never seen them. I don't think that they ever got in trouble. Like, I don't ever remember disciplining this child for nothing. Maybe once or twice. Okay? That's it. Overall, this child of mine has been a perfect angel in every sense of the word, and I'm not even exaggerating. Okay? Literally. So, with that being said, don't get it twisted and think that all angels were just created by source and have not had experience on the earthly realms and have not lived on the earthly realms, because some of them have. Not all, okay? But there are a few, select few, that have lived on the earth because they had missions. Okay? To give you some deeper understanding and understanding about the spiritual realm, you can ascend and descend at any time you choose. And it is not anything wrong with it, because if it was the case, then we all would not have descended to the earth. You, me, us, we. We all collectively chose to leave the celestial realms of existence and incarnate as a human. We descended to the earth. And so when we die and we pass through the veil and we go to the other side, we ascend if we choose to. Or we can choose to descend again, come back to the earth, or we can choose to descend even further and go to the underworld where the deities are. It's our choice. The deities, there's earthbound spirits, there's low vibrational beings, and there's daemons. Now, the first time I ever heard of the word daemon was from my angel, one of my angels I work with, which is one of my guides and also my guardian angel. And he told me, when I had said something about a client of mine had a demon, he was like, well, the correct pronunciation is not demon, it's daemon. Daemon. And it's funny because this was at the beginning of my spiritual mastery. I Googled it because I thought I was just imagining. Didn't even think I had this conversation at all. Because this is at the beginning of my spiritual journey and I question everything, okay? Don't judge me. But I Googled it. Sure enough, as the day was long, the word daemon was right there. And it perfectly described what we would probably consider to be a demon. But this redemption, or this definition, I found quite intriguing, because we're often told that demons are mean spirited beings or entities. Okay? But I love my angels because they are politically not politically, but spiritually correct. Let me just put it that way. I don't want to equate it to a human term. They are spiritually correct. And so a daemon is a divinity or supernatural being of a nature between God and humans. So when you start looking at a daemon from that standpoint, you really get the gist of what you're dealing with or what you are talking about. So many of us talk from a standpoint of education and from the pulpit and what the preacher has browbeat over our heads and what we have learned by going to a congregation or a church or a mosque or being associated with religion. And so we based our beliefs that these daemons or demons are all evil and that they're evil spirits. Okay? But remember that a daemon is an angel. Okay? And they can choose to be good or they can choose to be bad. They have free will and they have free choice just like we do. But you want to be careful because when you are working in those realms, you don't want to get entangled with messing with any lower realm entities. I only work with the light. That's my choice. That's my soul's choice. Let me put it that way. That's my contract. I came in working with the angels. I ain't have well, I didn't have a choice because this is what I signed up for. I was about to say I didn't have a choice, but then I was going to go ahead and rebuttal the fact that I didn't know I didn't, because this is what I signed up for before I came onto this earthly plane. This is my soul contract. So from birth, they communicated with me telepathically. And so I would always be afraid because as a little girl, I thought they were monsters. Here it is, I'm laying on my bed and I'm about to go to sleep, and these voices start talking to me. And I can hear them, but I can't see them because I dared not open up my eyes because I didn't want to see what was talking to me because I was scared. I was only, at the time, 2 years old. And I remember like it was yesterday, the angels were asking me, did I remember who I was? I'm like, what? 2-year-old little girl. So I'm like, who I was? All I knew is that I was growing and I was getting bigger. And so one day, one of my angels came to me and they were telling me how they were proud of how big I was getting. And, I've grown so much and how I was going to grow even more spiritually. So, the reason why a lot of people are not cognizant of the fact that they are working with angels is because they may not be on the same vibrational frequency. You have to be a high vibrational being. Vibrations do not lie. If you know of someone who work with the angels and not just the ones that basically say they work with the angels, but you can see in their lives that they perform miracles and there's no way humanly possible that they can do that, they're working very close with the spiritual realm and they're working close with the angels. Okay. I had a situation where it was my very first live event for my metaphysical school. And one of my students had a peanut allergy and didn't tell us. So the Hindu temple serves food there, it's vegetarian food only. And the rice happened to have peanuts in it. So my student started to have an attack where she had athletic reflex and her esophagus was closing up. Right before my eyes, I started to see her face with visible signs that she was suffocating. And so I was eating my food, and I stopped, and someone came and grabbed me and asked me, could I heal her? And you don't know the weight that that put on me. But I called upon my angel that I always work with when it comes to healing. And for you that don't know who the healing angel is Raphael. I called upon him and I started doing Reiki on her. About maybe 1 minute exactly after I got finished with her healing, she calmed down. Her esophagus started going back to normal instead of closing up on her. And everybody was like, okay, she's okay now. She's calm. I did my energy work on her. And less than maybe a minute later, she ran into the bathroom. She started vomiting all over the place. She purged the food because I asked for the food to come up because I didn't want it to stay in her body because it was poison to her. And it came out. And then I took her outside because Raphael told me that I needed to ground her. I took her outside. I grounded her and I connected her to the earth crystal core. For some of you that do not know, there is an earth crystal at the core of the earth. Whenever you're grounding, you should always make sure that you basically push your energy out throughout your body and the soles of your feet down to the crystal core, anchor yourself there. That's how you truly ground yourself. I can teach you guys so much. This is the reason why I own a metaphysical school. I know all of this because I was taught all of this by the angels. I didn't read nothing from no ding dang on book. Okay? Well, not most of what I know. I do read books. I read a lot of books, but this didn't come from a book. But the point is this. When you work with angels, you perform miracles. You do exactly what Jesus Christ told his disciples, that we will do greater works than these, meaning we will do greater works than what he does. Okay? Now, for some of you that are wanting to work with angels, I give you this with a warning. Never work with any angels before consulting source through prayer. Now, one thing I want to let you know is that you'll always know if you're working with a good entity by the vibration, how you feel. You will always know. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. That's the reason why the Apostle Paul said in the Bible to test out the spirit. You can test out the spirit by the vibration and how you feel. And if you feel really good and you have these good vibrations, sometimes it may feel like goosebumps, okay? And there's no fear attached to it, because I know there's some instances where people have told me they felt goosebumps, but they were scared. But anyway, it could be their own figment of their imagination too. I don't know, but I'm not here to challenge them. But I know from personal experience, if you feel that goosebump feeling, that euphoria, and you just feel love, just so much love in this tiny space that you're in, and it's energetic flow, that is a sign, a sure sign that you're dealing with an entity of the higher realms. And when you call upon your angels and your guides, you should make sure you call on the higher level angels in the higher realms. If you ever hear me do a reading, I never, unless I'm doing a personal reading for my clients, call upon angels and guides, because I only do that when I'm doing a personal reading for someone and not when I'm doing collective readings. Do you know how many guides and angels will be around? And I will be calling in based off of how many people listen to the video. And I don't feel that I would get the most accurate reading, because there's too many different energies. I only work with the elements and source when I'm doing readings for people collectively. I feel like it's more accurate to do it that way because somebody, guy, may be working on something particular with one individual. They may vary from the rest of the guides with the people that they're working with. And I've listened to so many readers, and I can listen sometimes and I know within 5.2 seconds whether I'm going to listen to the reading or not. The moment that I listen to you and you say something that doesn't resonate with me at all, I know that is the message is not for me. And it does not make them a bad reader. They can be a very good reader. But when something is not for you, it's not for you. It doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. It just means that you didn't chime into the right frequency. Okay? So with that being said, you really want to make sure that you call on the higher level angels when you're working with the angels. When you're working with your guides, I have a group of guides. I don't mind sharing eventually what their names are, but I don't want to right now because I just don't. I gotta keep some things to myself. But when I first started working with them, I was nervous because I only worked with my angels and I never really worked with my guides, but I was guided through Source to work with them. And they're heavily connected with Christ. All the higher level beings are connected with Christ, but they're really a part of the work of Christ consciousness. And the work that I do is related to Christ consciousness. And you may hear me say this at the closing of each broadcast or each transmission. I say, I wrap you in my love and I cloak you with the light of Christ consciousness. That's what I'm talking about. I am talking about this universal consciousness that is activated within our cells and our DNA. From the time of birth, we are DNA coded and activated with this. Each and every last one of you that are here listening to this audio. It's not a coincidence that you came. It's not a coincidence that this video, out of all videos you could listen to, appealed to you the most. Also, too, when you work with your higher self is basically you on the other side, helping you. If you ever watched the movie The Matrix, where Neo was on the other side, but then he was asleep, that's exactly how it is. You're asleep. This is Gaia. This is Terra. We're in the land of illusion. This is a holographic universe. So what is really happening to us is not really happening to us at all. And so you on the other side is going to protect you. And just know that you on the other side is so protective of you so much that you don't really have to worry about being deceived too much, but just be careful when you call upon guides and angels, because when you just call it out there and you're not specific and you're just vague, that's when you can open up yourself to trouble. Now, spirit guides and also my angels too. I work with my angels and my spirit guides on the astral planes. So do you. Every night they come to you and they take you out of your body with your permission, and you go do work. You go do education and you start learning. You being spiritual is not something that you just sucked out of your own thumbs and one day you woke up and you was a spiritual minded individual. No, this was encoded in you. You are spiritual because you know the truth beyond your subconscious mind. Because when you go to sleep at night, you die to yourself basically, and you offer up your spirit and you go and you work on the astral planes. You can work on the astral planes with your twin, which I do almost every night. Almost every night, I am on the astral planes with my divine masculine, and we're doing work, and we get along sometimes. They're a lot better than here, and it's very rare that we have like arguments and stuff like that on the astral plane unless I go to sleep and I'm just planning out something that happened to us during the day and it manifests in my dream. But again, you, unbeknownst to yourself, are already working with your angels and your spiritual guides. So when people say, well, that person is working with the angels and they're working with the spirit guides, so are you. You just don't know it. And that's why those that actively know have obtained spiritual mastery. All right. I think I about covered everything that I could, that I needed to say in this broadcast or this transmission. It is a good karma to like, share, comment, subscribe, donate if you feel inclined to, or you can leave a gift registry at my Amazon registry list. I now wrap you in my love, and I cloak you with the light of Christ consciousness. And so it is, everyone. Namaste.